what would you have done differently? If anything, or would you just keep it the same? You don't have to change anything. I'm just saying, if you had your choice. I know sometimes you didn't have gas money to get there. Sometimes you didn't have food. Sometimes, I mean, everything wasn't rosy all the time.
No, it wasn't, Jeff. I don't know whether you spoke to Eric, and I don't know if you really did your homework, but there is one that I would change, and the one that I would change is that I had a knack for meteorology, and I loved it, and I used to keep weather records when I was a kid and all that kind of stuff. But I looked at meteorology as not being practical to make a living, and so I chose economics rather than meteorology. So if I had it to go back, and looking now, I probably would have majored in meteorology and worried about the weather rather than the economy.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it is good that, that you dealt with it that way. So we're here today to talk about the economy. Man, I'm going to touch on that a little bit later on. I'm just on this college thing for right now. I just want to take my time a little bit so we can get all that out so people can understand. Because, again, this is going to go up on a lot of different networks. That's why we're in here filming with three cameras and sometimes 4. But anyway, we're doing our thing here, man. We want everybody to understand what the process is and want people to understand, don't quit. Don't give up. There's so many people that start something but do not complete it. Was there any time in your career of going to college where you didn't want to complete what you started?
Oh, without a doubt, Jeff. And sometimes when you're tired and you hadn't slept in 3 days and it's finals, and you're right, the money's tight and the gas money's tight, and I had an old beat-up Volkswagen. I mean, you know the story of young people, and you feel sometimes, is it worth it? Is this really the dream worth it? And I can remember my parents used to inculcate in us, you will go to college, and you will finish. And somehow that was out there. So it was a matter of, I didn't want to let my family down. Myself and my sister were the first 2 in our family to even go to college, and we both managed to finish, and it wasn't an easy ride for both of us. But yeah, there was times I had second guesses. In the interest of frankness here, there was a couple of times during a quarter, UCLA's on a 3-quarter system, where after the second quarter, I would bail on the third quarter. I said, you know what, I'll come back next year. That's why I took 5.5 years rather than the 4, is that I would drop out for a quarter, get the money back, get myself motivated, and then get back in.
Yeah, this is real as it come on the Jeffrey Henderson Show. Again, this is a very serious show because we want to make sure that people understand what it takes to get what they need to get to go to school, to go to college, to go to elementary school, junior high, high school, middle school, whatever it is, whatever kind of form of education, homeschooling, whatever it is, stick with it. Don't start something and don't finish it. Finish exactly what you started. My dad used to teach that, preach that all the time. Finish what you started. Don't start something and don't finish it. No matter how long it takes you. Some of these folks don't have a high school diploma. Go back and get it. Go back and get it. If you got to get into a form of a different diploma, get whatever required, but get that so you can go further on with your career and with your life. Okay, now we're going to move on to something else. I've touched on that a little bit long enough, how I wanted to do that, because I wanted to understand that. And I'm learning right here and now from the professional. From the professional. He has so much knowledge and is soaking into me, and later on I'll play this back, and I encourage you guys to play this back on YouTube, so you can understand how to get it if you're not quite done yet. If you're going to school and you haven't finished, listen to this interview and get the knowledge to firsthand. Experience is something that we all need. Theory is one thing, but hands-on experience is something else. You need them both to survive in this world. You need them both. You need the hands-on experience, and you need the book text knowledge so that you can compete with modern-day society as it is and as it were back then. So whatever you start, finish. Okay, now let's talk about the youth, because you're a man that really, really intensely, immensely love the youth. You go out to different high schools and you talk to these kids. You mentor these kids. You have a conversation with these kids. They love you. You love them. What is that experience for you, sir?
It's been trial and error and trial and success. The interest in the nonprofit space actually started with the Union Rescue Mission down in San Pedro Street in LA. And this is going to sound shocking to our listeners. There right now is probably 100 school-age kids who actually live at the Union Rescue Mission and they call it home. 100 who are homeless kids who are now there with their families. And we all remember, or we all know, if you do a Google on Union Rescue Mission, it was more of a second step or a dry out program for those that really had trouble with drugs and alcohol and that type of thing. on Skid Row. It ended up now there's more families in there than there are people going through the program. That's interesting, and it hasn't always been that way. Just to see the kids down there and to see a school bus pull up in the morning and take kids to the middle school, to the grammar school, and to the high school is you kind of go, how can that possibly be in 21st century America? It is, and it's not getting any better, and homelessness is picking up. So what we do there is that we get involved with all kinds of programs at the Union Rescue Mission with time, talent, and treasure. Treasure is easy. Now, remember, those of you listening, if you want to write a check, Union Rescue Mission always needs a check. But the time and the talent, if you've got the talent and time, and somebody out there is a retired engineer, retired somebody, you can call the folks at the Union Rescue Mission and get involved. And if you're a retired teacher or you want to help out in the afternoons and mentor some of those kids, you can go down and read, and you can help. And there's all kinds of programs that they have set up. It's official. They screen you in the whole 9 yards, but don't be afraid to get involved. That sort of segued into, I'm on the AC Green Youth Foundation board. Now, AC is a legendary Laker. We all know him and love him, and he set the record for the most games ever played. But his foundation now is over probably 20, 25 years. He's been out of the league for probably 12. His foundation serves the inner city kids out of the boys and girls clubs of the inner city, and also down in San Diego, where we have programs where we set up where we're dealing with not just the typical basketball camp that you may hear about that some of the professional basketball players do. We have programs there where we teach life skills, and we actually get in front of the kids and we talk to them about Game Changer, which is one of AC's programs. Game Changer is, okay, halftime, Super Bowl's coming up. You know at halftime the coaches are going to reassess what's working and what's not, and how to change the personnel to meet the challenges that the opposition is out there. That's Game Changer. It's saying, okay, what worked and what didn't work in the first half. Game Changer for the kids, for the students, is maybe some of the things that you chose may not be the best decisions. Maybe the people that you hang around with, maybe you experimented with drugs, maybe there's the sexual issues with the kids and premature sex. All of those types of things we address and say, look, you made the decision, okay, it didn't work, why don't we, it's not the end of the world, let's continue our lives down a path that you can make changes in your own life. And it's sort of, we work on empowering. We even teach courses on finance. These kids have never heard of a bank account. They never heard of a checking account. We teach courses on that with life skills, health skills, diet skills, plus the traditional out there in the basketball court with AC, doing drills. The programs are in the summer. We're going to do a lot more with the projects in LA. We've got more programs going. It's a labor of love. I've been on that board for a number of years. I mean, I can go on and on and on.
That's perfect. That's perfect. My next question, because there's so many kids that you mentor, so many kids that look up to you. Okay, take it from the folks that's non-fortunate. You know what I mean? That's really struggling financially, and it's really trying to get their education and stuff. What do you tell those folks? What do you tell those kids? And do you do it in a group session, or do you do it one-on-one? How does that work?
Mainly it's a group, and we do a lot of work with Jefferson High School and Academy. I guess I'll go into the Academy of Business Leadership. We'll go there. The Academy of Business Leadership, I'm on Anna Roonian's board. James Olmos, the actor, he's on that board too. But it's a board where what we do, we take inner city kids, take them and give them off campus. Edison donated the space, Edison up in Rosemead. So we take these kids, we mentor them for weeks in the summer and Saturdays, where we give them life skills, business skills. This is incredible when you see a child, 10, 11, so the youngest is 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, develop a business plan. We put these kids together. We'll choose from different schools. These aren't even from the same school, so they have no clue who they're going to work with. And then they develop a business plan of something entrepreneurial. And that takes on a life of its own. And then we have actual angel investors, hedge funds, private equity guys, and other people in the community do the judging. And we do them at SC, UCLA, so both schools are mentioned. We also do them at Loyola. We do them at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And we run 300 to 400 kids through the program. I get up and I talk about usually you can tell my energy level is quite high, and I do a lot of stuff on motivation and life changes. And the way we approach it, it sounds sort of corny and cliche, but usually there's a picture of the president or Martin Luther King on the wall. And I'll point to that picture and I'll say, okay, who is that? And they'll say, well, it's Dr. Martin Luther King. Okay. What's the acronym before his name? Doctor. Okay. What do you think he had to do to get that doctor before his name?